G'day guys, how are we doing? Welcome to Talking Boxing. It is Monday, December 16th, 2024, and she's a hot one. If you're wondering why it's just a little bit darker than what it normally is here in the studio, I've got two studio lights. I've got one that's from afar, which is this side, and I've got another one that's pretty close on this side, and it's pretty warm. So I've turned this side off, so forgive me if this side of my face is a little bit dark, but probably a good thing anyway, that you can't sort of see too much of me. But yeah, it's still in the mid-30s here. It is, could be worse around the state. It was high mid-30s here. I think it's high 30s still around the state at the moment. So this is, 7 o'clock at night. So anyway, we move on, but that's why I'm a little bit dark on this side, so apologies again about that. All right, well, we're going to get into the show tonight. What a weekend. We had Andrew Maloney yesterday. We had Huni Munguia being upset. We had the fights on Friday night. What did you think? I've spent all weekend going backwards and forwards with people about the Shannon O'Connell Jazzy Parr fight, including Shannon O'Connell herself. She ran me on Saturday. Not to have a go at me or anything, although she would have been warranted to do that. She just rang to say good day, let me know that she pulled up okay. But yes, look, it's been great. It's been healthy debate anyway. And look, I'm gonna watch the fight again. As I said on the night, I thought that Jazzy Parr done enough, but I'm gonna go back and watch it again. I've just got a feeling maybe, and it can happen, you try and be maybe not or come across as biased as you could be. And I just think sometimes if it's a close round, you tend to go the other way. There was a lot of close rounds, so yeah, I'm going to watch it again. But we've got lots of comments in there. What else happened over the weekend? Was it the Russian knocked out Espinoza? That was a good knockout, wasn't it? 3 rounds or whatever it was. So look, anyway, plenty of stuff to talk about, including Fight Week. How just amazingly quick has it come around? Alexander Usyk, Tyson Fury this weekend in Saudi Arabia. It's just amazing how it's just, here it is. And and of course, the Aussies, Opetaia and Sam Goodman, a mixed bag there. So we'll have to talk about that as well. So guys, let's get into it. Look, I know normally I say the comments are all over the place to get started, and I've got to go to my phone and spend the next 15 minutes trying to sort through it. I'm just going to, even though they're in all sorts of order on the screen, we're going to start off and right from the start and go through it. And if they're all over the place, well, so be it, we will address it. All right, so I can see we've got old mate Big J in the chat. We've got Damien Rochester. I think I met your sister yesterday too, Damien. We've got Eminem. We've got, who's that? M Honey. Oh, no, sorry. H Money. Sorry, not M Honey. H Money. How are you there? Jesus. How are you? Jesus. We've got Cal Jane Hartman in there as well. So thanks to everyone that's tuning in tonight. Don't forget, if you've got a comment, question, whatever it might be, put it in the chat. And let's talk some boxing. Don't be shy. Trust me. It's and there's Jules as well. So trust me, it's a safe place. So put your comment in there and let's have a chat. No comment. Well, I was going to say no comment is off the table, but we have had some peanuts in the past, haven't we? All right. So let's start with old mate Big J. What do you got there? Any news on Jai's new opponent? Are the Maloney's still with Top Rank? Now, with Jai, I've heard rumours, Big J. I'm probably like yourself, mate. I've heard different bits and pieces. I've heard that, well, obviously, if you didn't know, Hussein Shinkara is out, had the broken ankle. I have heard that David Nyeka was thrown in the mix at one stage, Big J. But from what I'm gathering, it's going to be someone in the top 10 to 15 opponents. Jack Massey is probably the only one out of the equation there. Floyd Masson was probably the other one. Who is there at the moment? So you had Nyeka at 10. You got Brandon Glanton at 11. Robin Serwan Safa at 12. And Hergen Udijaz, I think it is, at number 13. So I've never heard of any of those guys, mate. So, yeah, but I have heard that it won't be one of the absolute top contenders. But who knows? Who knows? At this stage, well, they weren't going to. I think they were going to announce someone today. If something's happened in the last 10 minutes, let me know. But as far as I know, nothing yet, mate. But it will be obviously this week. The undercard's got to be announced any old day as well. We know that Justice Huni is on the undercard, so that's good. But apart from that, yeah, mate, your guess is as good as mine. I mean, you know what it's like in the industry. Everyone everyone's got a theory. Everyone knows somebody that knows somebody, but I'm just hearing it's going to be someone from 10 to 15. But anyway, we will see. The Maloney's still with Top Rank. No, mate, they're not at the moment. I think they've still got a good relationship with Top Rank, but at the moment, no. They are free agents, and again, it probably shows how tough and fickle this sport is. You know, you're up 1 minute and you're down the next. I think if you watch my walking boxing this morning, you would have seen that I did say that I had a conversation with Jason Maloney yesterday. He's got a big fight being announced pretty soon for the new year, so I'm really excited for Jason. I can't wait to see him back in there. And it's really, as I said in the video again this morning, it was just great to see a smile on both boys' faces. They've had a tough year. I know Jason started the year well with the defence, lost his title in Japan. Andrew's had the year from hell, as we know. So it's just good to see the boys back and firing and feeling good, and both boys with potentially some big fights in 2025. Jason has got one locked in, as far as I know. Andrew, well, we'll see in the new year with him as well. So, but as far as Top Rank goes, I think they've been put on the shelf for the time being, Big J. But you're only as good as your last fight, and if they get another couple of wins under the belt, you never know. Bob and the boys might come sniffing around again. Who knows? But Damien. Here, the DAZN executive is or was in Sydney. Yeah, well, that deal's got to be getting close, doesn't it? Yeah, it was at 60%. They're looking to buy. So yeah, it's fascinating stuff there, Damien. I can't wait to see it happen. I think it's going to really turn everything on its head. It's all sort of been one-way traffic, I suppose, with No Limit. And I think No Limit, don't get me wrong, have done a great job. But competition's very healthy, and I would think that I know Tasman have DAZN and Ace Boxing have got 7+. I understand all that, but I think as far as Foxtel and Main Event goes, I'd love to see DAZN in there and getting not just No Limit events on there. I think it'd just make Australian boxing even stronger. So, Big J, in regards to all the world title fights we have for Aussies this year, what's your opinion on the good, bad, and ugly for 2024? It's a mixed bag, but the losses overshadowed the wins. Yeah, probably if I was leaning one way or the other, Big J, yes, you're right. I did discuss this in one of my walking boxing. I did discuss this topic in one of my walking boxing episodes last week, I think it was, and this was about this. Has it been a good year or a bad year for Australian boxing? I mean, of course, it's been a great year for Australian boxing. I know we've had some lows, but if now the Sam Goodman fight is off, that would have been the 20th fight featuring an Aussie in a world title fight this year. So, I mean, no matter how, even if they lost all 19 or 20 of them, it's still technically a successful year. I mean, the fact we've got so many Aussies getting shots at world titles, I mean, it's just unprecedented. So we might do something end of the year on this, Big J, but I would think that the good for me was... Good question, actually. I think, if I was going to say the good, I would think Liam Parr beating Subriel Matias was a massive win. A massive win. The bad would have been Tim Tszyu versus Sebastian Fundora, and the ugly, without a doubt, would have been Tim Tszyu against Murtazalyov. That was just a shocking loss for Tim, and it was great to see him do that interview last week, I think it was. What was it, Thursday or Friday? Great to see him back, and I did again comment on this, as I do every single day, that I thought he spoke really well, Tim, and I think eventually he'll be right. I'm not sure he'll come back in the same context that he was, but I think this was the first step in the mental healing process of Tim Tszyu. So I'm glad that he did it. For me, he just still looked a little bit tentative and standoffish and sheepish. 100% to be expected. I mean, the guy was wiped out on national TV in front of his countrymen, in front of his fans. So I totally understand it. That's the way I interpret it. He'll be back. He will be back. As I said, not to say he's going to reach the heights that maybe he has in the past or we expected him to in the future, but I think that he'll be back, and this is the first step. So, yeah, it is a mixed bag there, Big J, and I know some of the losses overshadow the wins. It's been a disappointing second half of the year, obviously, but let's hope that Jai Opetaia and Sam Goodman possibly can start the year off on a good note anyway. So, Damien, can't wait for this weekend's Usyk Fury 2. Let's go, yeah. And I will do a live watch-along on that, guys, so keep a lookout on that. I'm not quite sure what time of the morning it'll be on. I'm thinking 8 or 9 in the morning. I don't know. I'll work my way backwards on the cards, but I'm definitely not going to start at 3 o'clock in the morning, I can tell you that. We might start at about 7 or 8 in the morning and just catch them maybe the last couple of hours, but we will be covering it. Big J, Shannon is now thinking she can have another go at a title. This will only end in tears. And Jazzy drops off the radar temporarily. Yeah. Is it a bad thing, though, Big J? I mean, it's not like... What you got to look at with Shannon is that she has fought girls out of her division a few times because she struggles or has struggled to get fights, and she wants those big fights, so she's maybe taken on a little bit more than she can choose sometimes, and she's copped her punishment. Of course, the Ebony Bridges fight was a bad loss for her, but is it just a bad thing for her to get another title, even if it ends in tears? Oh, look, these fighters, whether it be men or women, I mean, they just every single day they sacrifice their lives for it. So I don't really care, mate. I don't care if it ends in tears. I really don't. If she gets another crack at it, that's what you work for. So good on her. And if Jazzy drops off the radar temporarily, well, that's just the sport as well. It's not all, what's Rocky say, sunshine and rainbows. It doesn't happen that way. So Jazzy, as pissed off as she was, doesn't really matter. I mean, as I said, I was probably one of the ones that thought she just got the win. I know a lot of others did. A lot of others thought Shannon, and that's great. That's just boxing. You got to take your lick sometimes. And Jazzy, she was beaten, whether she thinks she won or not, or whether a lot of people thought she won or lost. She's going to have to go back like everyone else does and regroup and go again. So no drama. Jazzy's, 21 years old. She'll be back. She was challenged for a world title. I think she could even win a world title, although Friday night, I think she copped a bit of a reality check about, okay, it's not all just going to happen for you. She was in the ring with a very cagey, experienced fighter in Shannon, twice her age almost. So, look, it'll be a learning curve for her. As pissed off as she was afterwards, she'll be back. I'm not really worried about Jazzy. And as I said for Shannon, what's the harm? You know, I mean, she might get touched up, whatever it is, but hey, this is what these guys do it for, and that's the sport we're in. So I got no problems with it whatsoever. Then we're going to look at the glass half full rather than empty, Big J. I mean, the fact that she's beaten one of the real up-and-coming young female fighters in this country. No one gave Shannon a chance in hell to beat Jazzy Parr. Everyone wrote her off. She's been written off so many times. She's come back. She's beaten Shanika Johnson. She beat Taylor Robinson. She's now beaten Jazzy Parr. Throw in there Kylie Former, Bianca Almir, all these other female hot shots. She's beaten them all. So give her a due and let her have her moment. Let her have this fight, and whatever happens, happens. I think she'll be able to live with it. So, all right, Eminem, Jaime Munguia getting knocked out by Dude. That's 25-0-2 with 4 KOs. He's wild. Well, it was wild, Eminem. I saw, because I was at the fight yesterday, and it must have come up. There were some highlights during the day, and it was of Munguia dropping, is it Sarasi? I think it's Saras. I think that's how they pronounce it. Dropping him, and I thought, oh, well, that's probably to be expected, whatever. And I didn't sort of look at it until I got home last night, and there it was, upset of the year. Jaime Munguia knocked out in, what was it, the 6th round, I think it was. What a shot, though. And I commented about it this morning that it's a sort of knockout you don't see very often. Where, and I know it sounds pretty basic, he just lined him up to the left and went boom, right down the middle. You don't necessarily see that happen, where you see one guy just line up the other guy and throw a 1-2 and knock him out cold. You just don't see it. Normally, I mean, these guys are cagey fighters. They roll with it. They're clinching. They're slipping, whatever it might be. You don't see it. But it was simply just, all right, let's throw all the normal combinations out the window, the way it's normally done, and we're just going to throw a 1-2 with everything we've got and hit him right on the button. Fight over. I love to see it sometimes, Eminem. I do feel for Munguia because it was in his hometown, in front of all his fans. But hey, this is the sport we're in. Again, it's cruel. Has a way of kicking you in the nuts when you least expect it. And I was more looking at, geez, what a win for Sarat. Like you said there, 25-0-2 with 4 knockouts, and he has a one-punch knockout of one of the best 168-pounders in the world. I thought it was fantastic. And, again, looking at his glass half full, I thought it was great for him. Munguia, glass half empty, whatever. But he'll be back. He'll be right. He'll just have to, again, regroup like the rest of them do, get back on the straight and narrow and fight his way back. But he's got time. He's young enough, Munguia. He'll be back. I wouldn't mind seeing maybe I would think that maybe we'll see a rematch between those two, and you would think Munguia will right the wrong of this time, but hey, you never know. Damien, how were the fights yesterday? My sister said she met you, yes, and asked where was Neil. She did. She got to meet you before I did, God damn it, yeah. It was funny because I was sitting at the table, Damien. I got a tap on the shoulder. I looked around, and obviously it was your sister, and she said, "Where's Neil?" And she was laughing and carrying on, and I couldn't help but laugh as well. It was good. I like when people come up and say good day who watch the channel, so it's always great to meet people like your sister and yourself, that want to come up and say good day. But yeah, she asked where Neil was, and I said, look, he's probably under the table there somewhere. He goes with me everywhere. So, but yeah, no, it was a good day of fights, Damien. Big J, meaning the losses like Tszyu and Zerafa were this is about your question earlier about the highs and lows. Yep, meaning the losses like Tszyu and Zerafa were devastating and embarrassing. While the only big win of the year was Liam, and he lost the next fight. Even the Shake and Nearly fight was swept under the rug. Yeah, well, it was, wasn't it? Well, let's go through some of them, Big J. We've had Jason Maloney at the start of the year defended his world title and lost to a very, very good fighter in Japan, by the way, in his next fight. So there's one. Andrew Maloney coming off that bad loss to Nakatani, which is, again, certainly no disgrace. I mean, Nakatani is probably top 6 or 7 pound for pound in the world. Lost a very close decision to Guevara. We've had Kambosos with the fight against Lomachenko. Hey, he dared to be great. Look, I'm not going to count that as a bad loss for Kambosos. I mean, geez, he's taken on one of the best fighters ever. And, he lost, but whatever. Yeah, the girls, Shanika Johnson defended a title. Sky Nicholson defended hers, 3 times. We had the Liam Parr win there. The Tszyu losses weren't great. We've had, a couple of Jai Opetaia wins. There's been 2, if not 1, but he's on top of the world. Yeah, look, what I'll say, Big J, I'm never going to call losses in world title fights embarrassing. I just won't do it. Yes, particularly the Michael Zerafa fight, and if you're going to count Michael Zerafa, you've probably got to say Tszyu against Murtazaliev. Were devastating losses, but as I said, I'm not going to call them embarrassing. These guys are in world title fights. And yeah, Michael's performance against Lara, didn't, mirror some of the great performances in years gone by. But hey, the guy was, but one of the main fights at the MGM ground on a pay-per-view in America, Las Vegas. So, I mean, geez, if that's embarrassing, well, I'll take that any day. But I'm agreeing with you there. They were both devastating. And look, but again, I'll take having 19 fights involving Aussies in world title fights any day. And the fact that we're getting more and more of these fights more regularly, look, the results will come. And again, I've spoken about this in the past where just because the results aren't coming now, it's very hard when you haven't been at that top level. Like Liam Parr is a great example. Beat Matthias, but really struggled to back it up. Now that he's had, 2 or 3 fights at the level, now he gets more and more, you'll see him improve. You'll see Tszyu hopefully come back. The Maloneys have been up and down and still amongst it. So, and Jai Opetaia's probably been the exception because he's been at the top and stayed there so far. It's a challenge to stay there when you're fighting good fighters after good fighters after good fighters. So it's been disappointing in patches, Big J. That's all I'm going to say. But I think it's been a great year for Australian boxing. I'd much prefer that than having the old days where we have 1 or 2 world title fights for the year featuring Australians, and now we've got up to 20. So I'll take the good with the bad in that way, mate. Again, I don't know what order these are in, guys. I'm sure they'll ride themselves. But what a roller coaster weekend. All good now. No limit card. Solid, but nothing to crow about. Jazzy Shannon fight result will do more harm than good. I had it a draw. Well, I'm not sure how it can do any harm, Big J. I mean, they fought. There was a winner. They move on. I don't know. I don't understand the harm that it does. Apart from, I'm assuming it was your comment before about Shannon ending in tears. But again, who cares? She gets another crack. Great stuff. Jazzy will be back. I thought the fight card was actually quite good, except for the main event. But again, it ended exactly the way I thought it would end. It was disappointing. Adrian Rodriguez didn't turn up to fight. He was in survival mode right from the word go, and I don't blame him. He was getting a solid payday. He knew he was the opponent. I've got no qualms about it at all. The fight did not exceed or disappoint my expectations. It was exactly the way I thought it would end and the way it would go. So I got no dramas though. I actually thought the rest of the card was quite solid. Actually, I'm just going to bring up the card just quickly. I liked it. I thought it was a good card. Where are we? Who was the... I'll put in Brock Jarvis. The card should come up. All right, we'll type it in there. We'll bring up the event and quickly go through the results. All right, so I thought the Ahmed Redder Michael Reynolds fight was an absolute cracker. I really liked that fight. What was the results there? 49-46 times 2, 50-45. I thought it was a little bit closer than that, but I loved the fight. I thought it was a really, really good fight. Tszyu Vusawatu and Kenny Nico, a lot better fight than what I expected. I thought that was a really good fight as well. Callum Peters, Mitch Holden, okay, you're going to get what you're going to get, aren't you? That was late replacement, 2 days, Olympian, all that sort of stuff. Ended exactly the way I think we all thought it was going to end. Jazzy, Parr, Shannon O'Connell, excellent fight. The girls, what a great fight that was. Kay Scott, Desley Robinson, fantastic fight. So above all there, Big J, I think the only fights on that was the main event and probably the Callum Peters fight, but it was just good to see him in action in his first fight. So I'm going to put a line through that one because, again, it was a late notice fight. So, yeah, really apart from Brock Jarvis and Adrian Rodriguez, I thought the card was good. I really liked it. I really did. All right, so we might be back on track here. Jesus M. Fake Nello couldn't KO Munguia. We've got a Canelo fan in the chat there, guys and girls. Jesus Fake Nello. I like that one. He gets lots of nicknames, doesn't he? But, yeah, look, it does happen, Jesus. We've seen it in the past. I wouldn't go that far. I mean, Munguia just got caught. It happens. It happens. Well, I just think back to the days... One that springs to mind straight away, Jesus, is why I don't take too much credit for that. Remember Marvin Hagler when he fought John the Beast Mugabe? Mugabe gave Hagler absolute hell for 11 rounds, I think it was, before Hagler stopped him. And then a few months later, he fought Dwayne Thomas and got stopped in a minute. So I don't really take all that into account, mate, but I get it. You're not the biggest Canelo fan. I understand it. But hey, it's your opinion. You can go with it. Well, speak another one there. Fake Nello eyeing Sarat showdown. Could happen, Jesus. We'll see. No drama at all, Cal. Anytime. Saying thanks for the show. Mate, I love doing it. All right, we should be back on track now. Kyle Champion. I heard Andrew Maloney isn't with Top Rank anymore. Is that true for Jason as well? Yeah, as I said earlier, mate, yep, at the moment. Look, it does happen. The boys are realists. They understand the way it works. I think it's a little bit harsh if you're asking me with the boys. Oh, hang on. We've got Andy. Hang on. How do I do this? The super chat. Where's that? There it is there, is it? $10. Thank you very much, Andy. Hello. Share, subscribe, smash the like button. Please, folks. Jai Opetaia and Sky Nicholson, our only Australian representative champs at the moment. You forgot Shay Keneally and Shanika Johnson there too, Andy. They are world champions as well. So I think we've got 4. Oh, we've got 4 world champions. So they've got the girls. So Shanika, Sky, Shay, and Desley Robinson. So 4 female world champions at the moment, and the 1 men's champion. So thanks very much for the super chat there, Andy. I really appreciate it, mate. All right, we'll get back to the. All right, so yeah. Yeah, the boys are realists there, Kyle. They realise that you're only as good as your last fight. I think it's a little bit stiff, though, that Jason, just coming off losing his world title in a very competitive fight, gets dropped. Andrew, I can understand you had the Nakatani loss and then the Guevara loss, but, geez, it was a close loss to Guevara. I've just got a feeling maybe they haven't, been dropped. They've just been told that maybe go back and have maybe explore your options somewhere else, and then we can still do business down the track. I don't think it was like a wipe your hand situation, but yeah, I don't know. But look, I am surprised, Kyle, that the boys haven't been snapped up by No Limit. I mean, they need content. They've got all these dates, pay-per-views, and these Wednesday night on Foxes. Although last week was Friday night on Fox, wasn't it? No, Wednesday. Was it? No, it was Friday on Fox. No limit on Fox. I'll get it right eventually. So I just would have thought Andrew Maloney's fight yesterday would have been the perfect fight to put on Friday night as the main event. Have Brock and Adrian as the co-main, or the girls, whatever it might be. Wouldn't have cost a lot. So I don't know why they wouldn't have put it on. I mean, it would have been great content. So it would have been a hell of a lot better than... Oh, no, it only went 3 rounds, by the way. It would have been a hell of a lot better than Brock's fight with Adrian Rodriguez as the main event, though. So yeah, I'm surprised that for a company that needs content in No Limit, with all the commitments with Fox and main event, they wouldn't have snapped these guys up. But anyway, there must be a reason. But either way, the Maloneys, don't stress. Next year, whether it's with Top Rank or whoever, they'll be back, both boys. Andrew Williams, great to have you back, by the way, Andrew. You're a little bit grumpy on Friday night. I hope you had a Snickers and a good night's sleep, and you're back. Welcome back, mate. I appreciate it. Fury to spring a surprise. I'm with you there, Andrew. I'm getting my gut feel is saying Tyson Fury, and I'd love to see it. To be honest, I like Usyk, but I'd love to see a trilogy. I like Tyson Fury. Is he one of the best heavyweights ever? I don't really think so, but he's a character. He's like, his story could be made into a movie, couldn't it, Tyson Fury? But yeah, I'm just a little bit of a gut feeling, Andrew, that Tyson Fury could get a bit of revenge this week. You got to remember that last fight was super close, and I don't think Alexander Usyk has got a lot more that he can offer. Another plane that he can go to. I think Tyson Fury has got something else he can give. I don't think we saw the complete performance from Tyson Fury last time, and I just think this time we might see the real Tyson Fury, and he just might get the job done. We will see. G'day, Sam. Welcome to the show, mate. Hope Tim doesn't fight Zerafa, even though Zerafa has signed with No Limit. Yeah, I did see that he'd signed with No Limit, Sam. But judging by Tszyu's response on Friday or Thursday, whatever it was, I wouldn't be putting money on that fight, Sam, because Tim, he cut whoever asked him the question. He cut him off. He was asked about Michael Zerafa, cut him off and said, not interested. Don't even mention his name. Not going to happen. So there you go. I don't think No Limit would have liked to hear that, because they would be banking on that fight as a massive fight down the track. I don't think the Nikita fight happens. Just call it a gut feel. Although it would probably have more chance than Tim. And I don't mind it. I think I might actually been you, Andrew, in the chat that we were commenting last week that you think that Tim has to fight Zerafa, and Zerafa deserves a shot at Tim. I don't see it that way. We disagreed a bit last week, didn't we? But it's all good. Look, I think I don't mind the fight, Tim fighting Zerafa. I don't want to see it next, only because I don't think Tim needs to take the risk. And if it's purely a monetary thing, then of course look at Michael Zerafa. He's the biggest option right now. But if Tim's looking past the money and says, you know what, I've got enough money at the moment, and if I beat a journeyman next and another one after that, and then get back into the mainstream again, that type of money is going to dwarf what he could probably get for Michael Zerafa. So yeah, I for one, I don't think Tim owes Michael Zerafa anything. It's all about Tim. If Michael doesn't get the Tim fight, he's really got nothing else, has he? He could fight on a few of these No Limit shows, but I don't really think he's going to get any big fights. So he needs Tim, and I don't blame him for trying to goad Tim into fighting him. I would do the same thing. But I've just got the impression that Tim, and maybe him and his team, have sat down and said, you know what, we don't need this fight, especially now. We're going to go for another route, get back and just concentrate on ourselves. And then maybe it might suit to fight later on, but at the moment it doesn't. So, yeah, but judging by his response the other day, Sam, that fight's not happening anytime soon. What's that, Jules? Let's get straight into it. If Terramona and Huni fought tomorrow, who wins? Huni for me, Jules. I think Huni, I know Terramona is a big guy. I just think Huni's got him covered, mate. I think Huni, I know there's a few people have jumped off the bandwagon with Justice Huni. I thought he did, I mean, the guy he fought wasn't much chop, let's face it, but you could see it for what it was. It was purely just a get back in the swing of things, get a fight under his belt, maybe practice a few things, and then jump into the next fight, which is Sean Poglier or something. It is from South Africa, on the Opetaia card. So, yeah, I'm liking what they're doing with Huni. They're going to keep him busy, fight 3 or 4 times next year, and then hopefully in 2026 step him up. But I think if Teramona fought Huni tomorrow, Huni wins, mate, and quite comfortably. Just my opinion. Hamed, how are you there? Welcome to the show. It's a bit odd Sam Goodman has got injured twice now. What was the other injury? I can't remember that, Hamed. Just enlighten me there, mate. I don't remember the first time he got injured. But just bad luck this time, Hamed. It's hard to get your head around how devastating this would be for Sam Goodman. I know it would have been a lot better a few hours later. I mean, how quickly did they fix this problem? I just take my hat off to all concerned. They would have had the cut in the morning. There would have been panic stations. There would have been phone calls to the Roses. They would have been panicking. They would have been straight on the phone to Japan, and it would have been a bit of a go-around. I just think all concerned have handled it so well, and within, 2 or 3 hours, there's a new date. Fantastic effort by all concerned. So Sam would have been absolutely heartbroken when it happened. He would have thought the world was coming to an end, but the fact that within a couple of hours it would have been, it's all good, Sam. We're going to put it back a month. He would have regrouped. His whole mindset would have changed in that time. He would have gone from this whole camp as a waste. The money, the payday's gone. Everything's gone. What about my supporters? All this sort of stuff would have been going around in his head. And within 2 or 3 hours, it would have been, all right, now I've just got to reset. Might take a few days off. I'm sure all our supporters can hopefully work something out as far as all the tickets and not so much the fight tickets, but airline tickets and accommodation, all that sort of stuff. Most of the time you can cancel your reservations for a hotel. Christmas might be a bit different. Japan might be a bit different. I don't know. Airfares can get very tricky. So that would have been an issue for Sam. But I think all that aside, the fact that he had a new date locked in, he would have been riding high a few hours later, and he would have been, all right, we just reset, we go again, and he will be focused now. They'll no doubt pull the reins back for probably a week or two, give him a bit of a spell, and then they'll probably have a nice, 2 or 3 week, what is it now, the 16th. So I reckon they'll pull him right back for a week and give him a real good spell, and then maybe have a good, maybe 2 week block of really going hard, a week of tapering off, and then into the fight after that. That's probably what I think they will do, and he'll be fine. And in a way, we'll have to make the same adjustments as well. Kyle Masternak is looking like the new mandatory for Jai, ranked 3rd in the IBF. Sislak at 2nd is looking at a WBC interim title. I know Masternak, his name was raised there, Kyle, but as far as I know, mate, it wasn't as far as actually getting the shot at Jai. Look, nothing would surprise me, mate. And look, all I've heard is rumours. All I've heard is opinions, rumours, whatever you know. That's all I've heard. I've had no one that's really in the know say, hey, this is what's happening. So if it is Masternak, it wouldn't surprise me. I have heard that he's not in the mix, but that would be a great fight if that was the case, Kyle. That would be probably a better fight than the Shinkara fight anyway. So if that is the case, mate, hey, I would welcome it for sure. But we will know it probably the next couple of days, I would say. What do you got there, Hamed? Then the Opetaia fight got cancelled. Hopefully you guys get some big fights in Australian boxing. Yeah, well, we've had a few this year, Hamed. Don't worry about us, mate. We've had a good year. Results have been a little bit up and down, but we've got 2 world title fights in January featuring Aussies, Jai and Sam Goodman. And then, no doubt, I'm sure Sky Nicholson will be back pretty soon. You'd think that Shanika Johnson will defend the title pretty soon. Don't know what's happening with Shay Keneally. Who else is there? Hopefully the Maloney boys are back in there. Maybe George Kambosos. He was straight into Richardson Hitchens after the fight with Liam Parr. So, yeah, don't be too stressed about us Aussies, Hamed. We will be back. Don't worry about that. Is Liam Parr versus George Kambosos still the plan for next year? They are now both coming off losses. Yeah, I don't think they'll fight straight away, Hamed. I would think that both guys will fight maybe in the first 3 or 4 months of 2025, and then I think they will fight in the second half of 2025. That's just my gut feel. I don't know. Again, heard rumours and talked to people who have different opinions, and
everything else. But no, I think they'll fight in the second half of next year, Hamed, unless maybe George can do what he does best and talk his way into a big fight with one of those other guys, Hitchens or whoever else. But I think it just makes sense. Parr and Kambosos having a fight each early in the year and then fighting each other in the second half. Paul, Michael Craig. Could the Poles get the visas in time? This is about Mustanak. Niika's in the top 15, was already on the card, so he's in shape and a DAZN fighter. That's why his name was brought up there, Paul. Would it be, it'd be a great fight, but would they put Niika in with Jai Opetaia in 3 weeks' time? I don't know. I'd love it if they did. I don't think Niika's ready for Jai Opetaia, if I'm being honest, Paul. He's a great talent, don't get me wrong. I don't think he's ready for Jai Opetaia. And the visas, look, you can put in requests to get them. You just got to know the right people who know the right people, if you know what I mean. It's been done. They can get it done if need be. Obviously, if it's American or whatever, they can get done in like 24 hours, but I'm not sure how it works with the Poles. But you never know, mate. Most of these promoters have someone inside in the customs area or the visas area they get very chummy with, because they're always applying for visas, and you're always going to contact, and I've been through it myself at a lot lower level than these guys are, where you get a bit of an inside guy and you can ring them up and say, hey, mate, I need a favour, and they can push a few buttons and ask for a few favours and sneak it through. Sometimes if you put a request in for a visa, that can just go with, in the pile and just works its way through. But if you've got someone in the know, like I'm sure, I was going to say No Limit there, not No Limit, Tasman Fighters, they've probably got someone they can hopefully rush it through. So either way, they'll have an opponent, and no matter who it is, I just can't wait to see Jai Opetaia back in Australia, so I'm not really stressed about it. Carl, g'day, mate. Hope you're well too. Geez, Munguia got sparked, didn't he? Yeah, he got rocked big time, mate. And he's got to regroup, as I said, but I'm sure he'll be back. Eminem, what chance to give McKean to beat Etoma this weekend? Honestly, Eminem, not a lot. And I don't like saying that about an Aussie. I'm just not sure. Excuse me. I'm just not sure Dempsey's, if I'm being honest, at the level. And mate, look, maybe Atoma's not at the level either. I just get the feeling he's the A side of the card. I'll be hoping McKean gets the job done. Obviously, I will. I'm just not sold, Eminem, and I don't like to say that about Aussie fighters. I know sometimes it gets back because people watch this show and they share the clip and whatever, and I get messages and that sort of stuff from people that I know and are friends with going, hey, mate, what's the go? But I've just got to tell it the way I see it, mate, and nothing personal whenever I give my opinion. I'm just not sure Dempsey's at the level, if I'm being honest, mate. Well, we'll see this weekend. Because as I said, Otoma, we don't really know much about him either. What is he, 10-0? Is that right? Hang on, where is he? I'll have a quick look at his record. I'm pretty sure he's 10-0. Let's have a look. All right, so Dempsey is 22-1. Hasn't fought for about 18 months since he lost to Hrgovic. 10-1 is Moses Otoma. So where's his record there? Yeah, so 10-0, but hasn't really fought anyone either. 10-0, 8 knockouts, but he, as I said, he is the A side. So we will see. But let's hope Dempsey can get it done. From what I saw, I was actually intrigued, Eminem, to see how Dempsey would go against Hrgovic. Not that I think Otoma's as good as Hrgovic, but I was really interested to see how Dempsey would go, and I just didn't see enough there, mate, just to think that Dempsey's world class. But let's hope I'm wrong and he gets a job done this weekend, because I will be barracking for him, make no mistake about that. Terramona had a good showing on Sunday morning, says Carl. Looking forward to his progression. Yeah, he'll take some time, Carl, and that was why the question was asked earlier about Justice. Right here and now, what was the question if they fought tomorrow? I just don't think he's at Justice Huni's level at the moment, but give him time. He's a big unit. A good trainer, Gareth Williams as well. They had a good weekend, didn't they? Terramona and Shannon O'Connell, and Cooper O'Connell before that as well at the Worlds. He'll be a good fighter, Carl. Someone that I'm pretty sure was at Matchroom, they'll get behind him. I'm surprised that, I was just going to say No Limit didn't get behind him, but of course it's with in conjunction with Tasman fighters, so they wouldn't have even had a look in for that. But, yeah, no, he'll be okay, Carl. I'm looking forward to seeing what he's like as he progresses, like you said there. But a good prospect. Yeah, thanks, Carl. Nothing better than butchering fighters' names. I'm hopeless, mate. You know, sometimes I'll listen or watch the YouTube the show or watch it live, and I actually sometimes rehearse the names. I still can't get it, mate. I can't even get my own name right sometimes, mate, to be honest. I just can't get it. I'm just hopeless that way. A typical Aussie, mate. I just say it the way it looks like it's spelt, and it just comes out wrong. Anyway. All right, Andrew, what's the Cruiserweight World title fight today? Ryan Rozicki and an Argentine fighter with a famous last name. They were so bad, Jai would KO them in 1 round each. Where was that, Andrew? I didn't see anything about that. Let us know where that was on. All right. Double G, how are you there, mate? Roll set in regards to Shannon. Sick of people sinking the boot into her. Whatever her future holds, win, lose or draw, just let her chase her dreams and be happy for her. Couldn't have said it better myself, Double G. 100% hit it out of the ballpark there, mate. That is exactly it. I mean, it's probably like the Sam Goodman thing. Do I think he's going to win? No. Do I think he gets beaten badly? Yes. I don't think... I just don't think he has a chance against Inoue. I cannot see in any other way that Sam beats Inoue. But do I think he shouldn't take the fight? No way. I applaud Sam Goodman for, as they say, daring to be great. Because if he beats Inoue, that is the greatest upset in Australian boxing history. Not just modern day, Australian boxing history. That's how big it would be. So... do I think he wins? No. But, geez, give the guy a round of applause for at least stepping up and having a crack. I just don't understand why it's, no, he's going to get smashed. Well, what, so don't take the fight? What do these guys get out of bed for every single day and do road work and don't celebrate the Christmases and birthdays and everything else? These guys and girls sacrifice everything. And that's why you'll never see me get personal with them or lay the boots into them, no matter if I like them or not as a fighter, doesn't matter. I respect them all, and especially someone like Shannon, who, she's done it tough. I mean, we talk about making movies about fighters. They could easily make one about Shannon O'Connell, I can tell you. The amount of times she's been written off over her career, and she keeps bouncing back. So, as you said there, give her an out and let her chase her dreams and be happy for her. I'm with you there, Double G. Well said, mate. Eminem, I see Cooper O'Connell assigned with Fight Life Management. Pro debut incoming. Yeah, it will be, mate. I did speak to Shannon about this on Saturday, and you got the name right there because his actual name is Cooper McConnell. I know it's very, very confusing. His dad, Corey McConnell, and then you've got his mum, Shannon O'Connell. But now he's 18, he's going to change his name to Cooper O'Connell, which will make life a lot easier for us out there. But he has signed with Fight Life Management. I don't think I know. He hasn't signed with No Limit Eminem. I think what they're going to do is probably a little bit like they did with Tim at the start of his career. He didn't sign with No Limit straight away. He had probably about a dozen fights. And one of them was obviously with me back in 2018, I think. His last fight before signing with No Limit was my show in Bendigo in September 2018. But what they did with Tim, they fought in South Australia, they fought in Queensland, they fought in Victoria, they fought all over the place and just took him around the country. Didn't sign with anyone until they knew they had the right promoter. Of course, obviously that was No Limit. And I think they're going to do the same with Cooper. I mean, I think he ends up with No Limit, if I'm being honest, Eminem. But why rush the kid? Let him fight on whatever show suits him at the time. And he'll get some offers. I think he'd be great with Tasman fighters. I think he'd be great with Ace Boxing. Probably more so with maybe if it's not No Limit with Tasman fighters because they've, of course, got DAZN. But if it's not one of those, well, it doesn't really matter. Fight on all the shows and get some exposure. All those promotional companies are going to want someone like Cooper O'Connell on the shows because he's going to be someone they can really get behind and promote. So he's got the world at his feet at the moment, Eminem. And let's hope he can deliver as a pro. And also, I think, did someone actually mention it before? I don't think I saw it. Where is it? That young Benji Birchall won over the weekend in Thailand. I didn't see the fight, but wow, that is crazy. 15 years old. Turns pro. He's got to go to Thailand because he's not allowed to turn pro here. You've got to be 18 or 17, 18, whatever it is. Goes to Thailand, knocks out a guy in the first round. I mean, this kid, you got to give it to him. I haven't really seen much of him, to be honest, apart from a little bit on social media. But, hey, good luck on him. And David Birchall is one of the best guys you'll ever meet. Such a great guy in the business. Been around forever. And he's in very, very good hands. And I know I had a few people say, "Oh, geez, what do you reckon of this 15-year-old kid? His father letting him go to Thailand to fight." My comment was, well, if his dad, who I respect a lot in Dave Birchall, thinks he's good enough and mature enough to fight as a pro, then he's ready. And good luck to him and Dave as well. Such a good family as well. All right, Andrew. What about Parr? What that decision was way off. Yeah. Look, it's so amazing though, Andrew. The amount of people that message me saying, "Oh, mate, I agree with you," and then the amount of people that say, "Mate, what are you thinking?" There's no way that Parr won that fight. Isn't that why we love boxing though? But it's also what's wrong with it, that we can't have a definitive scoring system. You've got one judge that had it 8 rounds to 0 for Shannon. I said that to her on the weekend. I said, "Shannon, hey, I know you're happy, but there's no way you won that fight 8 rounds to 0. And she just laughed and said, "Yeah, well, again, that's boxing. I've been on the opposite end of that as well. It was just my turn this time." But Shannon was very, very adamant that she thought she won the fight. Not just, "Yeah, well, I won." So she said, "No, I thought I landed the cleanest shots. I thought I made her miss a lot. I landed the jab." She said her left arm felt fantastic, the best it's ever felt. So, good on her. And Jazzy Parr's just going to have to suck it up and come back. I didn't like the way she handled herself after the fight. I understand she's upset. I understand she was emotional, which is probably not why it's not a good idea to stick a microphone in someone's face straight after the fight. I think they almost need to have an hour cool down period and then maybe come out. But they jump out the ring and, of course, they get a microphone in their face and they say some outrageous things sometimes. Shannon did say that Jazzy's dad, John Wayne Parr, actually congratulated her at the airport the next day, and you wouldn't expect anything less. Very, very classy guy is John Wayne Parr. And he was obviously pissed as well. He did put something on social media the day after. But that's okay. It's one thing to have your opinion and you can have your say on your own social media site. But when you see the person, let them have the win, shake their hand, wish them all the best, and let them move on. So, but Jazzy Parr, I think she's got a bit of growing up to do. She's a 21-year-old kid, so I will give her a break as well. Jules, speaking of Aussies in world title fights, are Australian boxers getting better? Are they being promoted better? Or are fighters and the teams navigating the messy world of boxing better? I would think that's a bit of all that there, Jules. I think we are getting better, 100%, because we're now getting... the Aussies are linking up with good promoters, so they're being matched better, and you've got to be better to be at the level. The quality of fighters are improving, so they are getting better because they're getting more opportunities to be better. They're being promoted a hell of a lot better. They've got no choice because you've got the international promoters coming on board now. Of course, Lou DiBella and Eddie Hearn are involved with Aussie fighters, and so they're being promoted better. But also not just that, to be able to compete. The No Limits and Tasman fighters have all got to step up. Ace Boxings have all got to step up, and they've got to look after their fighters as well as they can, or else their fighters will be gone. So I think the bar's been raised by everyone against each other, and I think all fighters across the board are being managed, even at a lower level. Like even the Wild Fighters and Dragon Fires and these type of promotions are all having to raise the bar to be able to be in the mix. So I think across the board, the shows are getting better, fighters are getting promoted better, and your final comment there, the teams are navigating the world of boxing better. They're getting more experienced. You got to remember back in the day, like you get a fighter like a Jeff Fennick or a Jeff Harding or Lester Ellis, Barry Michael, they haven't really got the contacts at the top level. So they're all just relying on local guys, and they end up, maybe a lot of them getting rorted for purses or getting mucked around in the lead up to the fights. And when they get to the event, these days, all their fighters and the teams are linking up with people that know the business. The Eddie Hearns and Lou DiBellas, and now even the No Limits are very experienced. Ace Boxing's very experienced. So you're getting a lot of these promoters, Tasman fighters, of course, are all experienced in it now, and the wool's not being pulled over their eyes as much as what it used to be maybe 20 or 30 years ago. So I think across the board, Jules, there's no coincidence that there's more and more Aussies that are getting world title fights consistently. We're just talking about the 19 or 20 fights, whatever it's been. What about the others, the Stevie Sparks of the world that didn't get a world title shot, but they're over there having a crack at the top level as well? Well, they did. Well, I know he's coming back, but we're just talking about the world title fights. But then there's others that are coming in and just getting big fights overseas. I love to see it. I really do. So tick, tick, tick to all those points there, Jules. 2024 has shown that we have the talent, but our fighters are too green when they get to the elite title fight level. Our overseas promoters giving us opportunities for that reason. Nah, look, I just think it's a bit of a process, Jules. I just think, as I said earlier, I've just got a feeling that we're still adapting to being in the big time consistently, because it just hasn't been the case. I mean, really, when you look at it, Costa Tszyu, you got to put him out. I mean, he's been at the top level as an amateur, so he went straight in the pros and went straight to the top level straight away. But guys like back in the day, as I said, the Jeff Fenix, Jeff Hardings, Lester Ellis's, these types of guys, they were green. Jeff Fenix was the exception because he pushed through it. Lester Ellis, unfortunately, couldn't really get back to the level. Barry was always around the mark, but I just think not necessarily they were too green. I just think they just hadn't had enough fights at that top level. But now they've got these really good promoters behind them and getting more opportunities. That's why we're improving all the time and getting more success at the world level. So I hope I've answered that. But as they say, it's a bit of the chicken before the egg type of affair. But I just think the fact that Australia's finally caught up, got with the times, linking up with international promoters and trainers and managers and all that sort of stuff, that's the reason why we're getting more opportunities and the reason why we're having more success when we get there. Cal, what do you got there? Did you hear what Jazzy Parr said about Glenn Jennings' team? Yeah, just immature, Cal. I don't buy that whatsoever. Look, and I think George Rose might have said it in his interview the other day, Cal. You get this thing, it's a no-limit fighter or it's a Glenn Jennings fighter. And look, that's just crap. It really is. The Combat Board, they're a totally independent organisation. Do they get it wrong occasionally? Of course they do. Of course they do. And I've been very critical sometimes, but it's not like No Limit. They all get paid by No Limit. They're employed by No Limit and No Limit judges and referees. It doesn't work like that. No Limit and all the other promoters out there pay their fees and licenses, all that sort of stuff, the charges to the Combat Board, and they just turn up on the night and they just do their job. And all they might get from the promoters is a g'day as they walk past, and that's about it. So this whole thing about, the part of Glenn Jennings' team, what do you expect? Absolute bullshit, Cal. It really is. And they're part of No Limit. Of course, there's the A side and there's the B side. That happens on all the promotions. I get that. But, look, just the fact that Shannon's with Glenn Jennings, that means nothing. Because Shannon O'Connell, whether Jazzy likes it or not, whether she's with Glenn Jennings or not, Shannon was the B side, if not the C, D, and E side. It was all about Jazzy Parr. No Limit. They got right behind Jazzy. Shannon wasn't even at the press conference. She was told she didn't need to be there. It was a Jazzy Parr show. Shannon O'Connell was just an afterthought. And she just happened to be managed by Glenn Jennings. And the Glenn Jennings factor meant nothing, especially on the night with the Combat Board, who wouldn't probably have a clue who even manages either fighter. They wouldn't know and wouldn't care. So I don't buy that, Carl, and I just think Jazzy Parr needs to grow up a bit and, just mature, I think, because that was just a pretty silly conversation. I've got no doubt, as I said, sometimes you sort of know who's the A and B side, and some of the judges might find themselves looking at a particular fighter, but this whole thing about, they're part of Glenn Jennings' team or they're part of No Limit or part of Tasman Fighters, I just don't buy it. I don't buy it at all. Andrew, 4 world champs in name only Jai and maybe Sky. No, I think you got to give Desley Robinson her props there, Andrew. She won the title. Look, they are at heavier weight divisions, Andrew, so I know there's not a lot of girls around, especially the girl they got for Shay Keneally. I must admit that was... I was going to drop that word I said I wouldn't mention earlier, embarrassing. That was just not a good look, if you ask me. But having said that, Shay Keneally, she would know what's up, and she's called out Clarissa Shields. So she's like, okay, well, I've got the belt now. Let's just put that one behind us, and I want Clarissa Shields. So you got to give her credit, wanting to fight the best, and that's one common denominator you get with the Aussies. They all want to fight the best fighters out there. Although having said that, Sky Nicholson, you have to fight Tiara Brown. You're not going to get respect from me until you fight Tiara Brown. It's as simple as that. I know you want Amanda Serrano, and that's great, but Tiara Brown has done more than any other female fighter out there to deserve a shot, and you talk yourself up as being one of the best pound-for-pound females out there, fight Tiara Brown. I think Sky can beat her, by the way. I just wanted to fight her. Give her props. Give her a chance. Instead of fighting one of these other fighters she's been fighting, who, in my opinion, some of them have been horrendous, fight Tiara Brown. I think Sky beats her, but I still want her to give her an opportunity. Kane Mack. How are you, Kane? Yes, it was an interesting weekend of fights, mate. That's for sure. Jules, how did Andrew look on the weekend? He retired in anger and understandably has come back. Does he still have the hunger to get back to the pointy end? Yes, he retired in anger, Jules. If you ask him about it now, he pretty much laughs it off. Look, again, it's probably why they shouldn't put microphones in fighters' faces straight after the fights. I know they've got to do the in-ring stuff. I get that. But, yeah, look, he probably dwelled on it for a few days, and then he was always going to come back, Jules. As far as the hunger goes, 100%, mate. After the fight yesterday, he was pumped. He was pumped. And he did say, I'm back. I don't think he meant as far as, I mean, it was a great performance. So he ironed his opponent out with a really good right hand. But I think what he meant was he's back as far as upstairs. Mentally, he's back. He's switched on. He's ready to go. He's ready to relaunch. And, again, probably like the Shannon O'Connell thing. Will he win a world title again? Who knows? But he'll get a crack, and good luck to him for having another crack at it. But definitely has the hunger, Jules. Make no mistake about that. Jeez, what's that, Eminem? I had a dream last night. Fury beat Usyk in round 1. KO. Might put a cheeky bet on it. Well, mate, you got to sometimes go with your gut feeling. You've said that. I might put a sneaky $10 on Fury myself, because you'd be getting good odds at that result there, the first round KO. So, yeah, mate, wouldn't hurt to put a 10 or $20 on it. Cal, so will Tim fight Liam, or what's that? So will Tim fight Liam or Nikita? Tim still should look overseas. Well, he's not going to fight Nikita, is he? What's that there? So will Tim fight Liam? Liam who? Cal? We'll come back to that one. Sorry, I did forget about the ladies, says Andy. Do hope they get better exposure. A bit buggered from work, a bit delirious at the moment. It's all good, Andy. It's all good, mate. How is Zerafa a risk? Shit, it's over. How is he a risk? Well, every fighter's a risk. Look, what you got to look at, Andrew, it's a business decision. We had this conversation the other night where Tim would not want to give Zerafa a payday at all. He hates Zerafa, doesn't want to give him the satisfaction of getting a payday or his name up in lights or a pay-per-view event. He doesn't want to give it to him. Not yet anyway. I would think that if they thought Zerafa was the right opponent at the right time, of course they would fight him. But I've just got a feeling they're thinking, no, we don't need this guy. We just don't need him. Why give this guy the satisfaction of a payday and getting his name up in lights? Because without Tim, Zerafa hasn't got a lot of options. So I've got no dramas with it, Andrew. As much as the Aussie public, probably like yourself, want to see the fight, I just haven't got an issue with it. Because it's not like a Canelo and Benavidez situation where Benavidez has earned the shot, is at the level, he's wanting the fight, and Canelo is obviously ducking Benavidez. What's Michael Zerafa done, Andrew, to earn the shot at Tim Tszyu? He's done nothing. He got obliterated in 2 rounds early in the year, and forget the Tommy Brown fight, which was just a joke. What's he done to earn a shot at Tim? And you might say, well, what's Tim done? He's lost both fights this year and he got obliterated as well in his last fight. And you're right. The difference is that Tim's name is still a massive name in Australian boxing. Still calls his own shots. Still the main man of Australian boxing, even coming off 2 losses. His name's still big. He doesn't need Michael Zerafa to still be that guy. Michael Zerafa needs Tim to have any crack at it. And that's why I've got no dramas with Tim saying, well, I'm calling the shots, and I just don't need him. I don't want him. I don't need him. So I don't understand this whole thing about he's got to fight Michael Zerafa. It's not like Michael Zerafa's on an 8-fight winning streak and, you know, is bowling everyone over and is ranked high in the world rankings, and that's different. Michael Zerafa's nobody in the scheme of things, Andrew. With all due respect to Michael, I'd probably have him texting me next, having a crack at me. But you know what I mean? Like, you got to look at it in the whole context of what it is. And in Australian boxing, yeah, Australian fans want to see the fight. In the world of boxing, it means 0. Tszyu versus Michael Zerafa rates a 0 on the Richter scale as far as importance goes. And Tim's not looking at Australian level anymore. He's looking at world level. So he's going to say, why am I going to fight this guy? It means 0. It means nothing. If it's not just about the money, I agree that why fight him? It doesn't make sense. So anyway, that's just my 2 cents worth there, mate. All right, Damien, I'm reading up in this DAZN Foxtel deal, and it's in deep negotiations. He apparently has also met with Telstra, who own 35% of Foxtel. Big things happening there then, Damien. Big things. Who knows? Maybe DAZN end up owning all of Foxtel. Who knows? But that's so. Is he also met with Telstra, who own 30? So maybe they're looking to do a clean sweep and take the whole lot. Pretty crazy stuff happening. If that was the deal there, Damien, you would find that DAZN wouldn't be just an app, a streaming app. They would be a channel on Foxtel. And maybe what would happen if they did buy into Foxtel, like you're saying there, maybe Main Event wouldn't exist anymore. Maybe the DAZN channel would be the one that would have all the pay-per-views and all the rest of it, and they would keep the app for the overseas fans or supporters that want to watch the fights that can't get the Foxtel and Main Event fights. They would still have the app for them, and they would have the DAZN channel on Foxtel, not just the DAZN app. That's the way I would probably think it would happen there, Damien. But either way, exciting times, mate, and I think it'll be for the benefit of Aussie boxing, which is all that we worry about. Eminem, Dillian White with a 7th round retirement of Tete today. Said post-fight he wants to fight 4 times next year and wants a rematch with AJ. Yeah, blah, 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 Eminem. I don't take any notice of Dillian White anymore, mate. I did see that he wants a rematch with AJ, mate. You fought AJ, you fought Tyson Fury. You didn't come close to beating either of them. Just give it up, mate. And as far as AJ's got bigger fish to fry at the moment. He needs to get back on the winners list. I'm a little bit worried about AJ as well, Eminem, if I'm being honest. I'm not sure he comes back. I think he'll get another big fight, but I just don't think we're going to see anywhere near what we've seen in the past from AJ. And realistically, I would think that maybe he just waits for the Tyson Fury fight. I still hope that fight happens. So maybe he just lays low, maybe just keeps churning over those lesser light type of wins and waits for the Tyson Fury fight, because that is his retirement fight. And maybe it might be Tyson Fury's as well. Who knows? Because I think that even if Tyson Fury loses to Usyk, Fury and AJ is still a massive, massive fight in the UK, and it'll still probably be the biggest all-British fight in history. So I would think that might be the retirement fight for both guys. All right, Sam. And just on that too, actually, did I miss that one? Just back to Eminem. Just on that, you know, I just lost my train of thought there. Sorry, I'll come back to that. I was just reading another comment there. Forget that. I'll come back to it. I remember. Hamed. Sorry. Goodman was injured, so the fight didn't happen in September. That's why Inoue fought TJ. You're 100% right, Hamed. Sorry, I forgot all about that. No, hang on. Backtrack a little bit. I thought it was because Sam Goodman already had a fight locked in before he was offered the fight with Inoue. That's the way I read it. I don't think he was injured, Hamed. I think he had a fight already locked in. And who was he going to fight? Let me just quickly type in his name. All right, there he is. 19-0. And they've already updated the card, which is good. Oh, he was going to fight... Yeah, the Thai. Okay. That was locked in for... He was fighting him in July. And I think they wanted to fight Inoue in September. And I don't know why he wouldn't have just dropped the fight with the Thai and just taken an Inoue fight. But whatever it was, I'm pretty sure that was a reason, Hamed. But either way, he didn't take the fight. And now he's been cut again. So Hopefully nothing happens in the lead up to January. All right, Sam, does Tszyu still look at fighters overseas like an up-and-comer or someone like Ortiz who else is in Tim's weight division? I think it will be 100% a journeyman next, Sam. And I wouldn't be surprised. I was just about to say I wouldn't be surprised if they try and roll Keith Thurman back out. Not like he's a big name, hasn't fought in a long time, not a heavy hitter. If he beats Thurman, all of a sudden he's back in the mix, but it's still a risky proposition. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they just get a journeyman. Get a journeyman for his next fight, get a win under his belt. Maybe it's Thurman after that, although I would probably go somewhere else or another direction. I just don't think they can trust Thurman. But I think it will be just a journeyman next, Sam. Won't be Ortiz. It'll be just someone that's maybe a big-ish name, but definitely not a puncher and definitely not someone that's at the top of the game or highly ranked. Just forgive me for a sec there. Sorry, guys. Bit of a runny nose there. All right, we'll move on. All right, Damien. Just ditch watching all No Limit events. That's what I've just done and been in a fantastic mood ever since. Damien, the fights were free on Friday night, mate, and it was a good card of fights. It really was. I'm not going to put you in charge of the No Limit fan club, mate. But having said that, there's been a lot of comments online lately not happy with the boys at No Limit. I'm not subscribing to that, if I'm being honest. I think they've done a really, really good job. Yes, I agree that paying $70 for some of the cards they put on is not worth it. But at the end of the day, they need to charge that amount to afford to put the shows on. Different economics here in Australia compared to overseas. But I do understand the people that say, well, shit, we pay $30 or $40 for the overseas big fights and we're paying $70 for just what almost amounts to club fights on pay-per-views over here. So I understand the angst, but I think overall they've done a pretty good job. But that's why I'm looking forward to if this thing happens with DAZN, because it's going to make them even have to revote even more and step up to the level. G'day, Tommy. Just forgive me for a sec. Yeah, have a drink. All right, watching live, I thought Shannon won, but rewatched the next morning after the controversy and scored it a draw. Excuse me. Fair result. Felt shotgun outlanded off the back foot as Parr walked forward. I think, from what I've sort of gathered, Tommy, a draw probably would have been the best result because there's been a nice even split right down the middle who thought Jasmine Parr won and then the others that thought Shannon O'Connell won. So maybe a draw. Definitely not 8 rounds to 0. Even though, of course, I'm wrapped Shannon won, but 8 rounds to 0 is just ridiculous. Who was that scored that way by that fight? Let's have a look. I'm not sure they've actually got the judge's name. Let's have a look. Jasmine Parr, who's now 6-1. Ian Batty is the culprit. Ian Batty scored the fight 80-72 for Shannon O'Connell. The other judges, Dean Cambridge had it 77-75 for Jazzy Parr, and Andrew Lasik had it 78-74 for Shannon O'Connell. I would think 77-75 either way is probably the best result. But 80-72, Ian Batty. I think you might have a please explain coming your way from the combat board, I would think. What's that? Eminem. Tete could be a good fight for Huni in 2025. Yeah, it could be. Huni just took out the Argentinian #1. We'll take out South Africa #1, then potentially Ghana #1. Yeah, good call, Eminem. I just don't think they need to rush Huni. I just think these types of fighters are ideal for him. I just want to see him active. I would like to see him fight 4 times next year. So his first one will be the 8th of January. Another 3 fights for the year, and then 2026 be the year they really try and step it up. Even maybe the end of 2025. I think he's good enough. I think Justice Huni is at the level. I would like to see him maybe not be as reckless as he has been in some of his recent fights, but I think you'll see as the quality of opponents go up, you'll see him be a lot more controlled, I would think. All right, Tommy, we'll get to you in a sec there. All right. Where is it? Cohen versus Brock seems to be the go early next year. Yeah, I've seen all that. Love what Cohen brings to the sport and hope he gets an opportunity to headline again. Yeah, I'm a fan of Cohen, Tommy. He's one of those fighters who I don't think is good enough for the international level, but just perfect for those really good fights at national level. And there's plenty of guys out there he could fight, and he's already fought a lot of them anyway. He fought Mahoney. It was him. He fought Mahoney. He's fought Hussein, I think. He's fought Camilleri. So I'm a big fan of Cohen. I like his style. I saw the social media posts that he put out. Actually, I'm going to bring up his name as we're speaking there, because I want to I don't want to get his record wrong. Wade Ryan he's fought as well, by the way. So he's 12-4-1. Let's just go through. So he's had the loss to Nikita. He's fought, Benjamin Hussein. He lost a 10-round decision. He had the draw with Ben Mahoney. He beat Wade Ryan. He has lost to him as well. He's beaten Joel Camilleri twice. He has lost to Luke Woods. But he's been in a lot of good fights with some good fighters. And I did see the social media post. What I liked about it was with not the shit you see with Brock and Hamden, which is just ridiculous. And make no mistake about it, Hassan Hamden needs Brock Jarvis a hell of a lot more than Brock Jarvis needs Hassan Hamden. Let's just put that out there. Brock is still a name in Australian boxing. Hassan, I think, has got a long way to go. But anyway, that's a different conversation. But Cohen said, look, I respectfully call Brock Jarvis out. And I loved it. That's exactly what I want to see. I think I can beat him. I think I've got what it takes to beat Brock. I love that. That's the way to do it. And then Brock, who's becoming more and more engaging with this sort of stuff. In the past, he was very reclusive. Didn't really get a lot out of him. But now he's starting to come out of his shell a lot as well. And now we're getting this to and fro. And I did see a little bit of the interview that before the fight did, Rob Scheif. I love what Rob does with those interviews when he gets the guys on the channel. I think it's great innovation by him. And I think they got into it, but I think it was again respectful. Yeah, it got a little bit heated in certain parts, but I really like what they do, and I think that would be a really, really good fight. I think Brock Jarvis wins the fight, but it would be entertaining, and Colin Mazzudia would give as much as he takes. I think it would be a tough fight. The only thing I would say is if Cohen takes Brock into the later rounds, I think he has the ability to get over Brock, because I think Brock tends to fade a little bit as the fights go on. I don't think I'd like to see that fight next. I don't think Cohen is the right fight for Brock next, just like I don't think Nikita is the right fight for Brock next, or Hussein. I think Brock needs another Adrian Rodriguez type of fighter, just as one final step to these types of guys. But what a great time it is, though, at this level, to have all these guys at national level, all probably not ready or good enough for that absolute elite level, just fighting each other. I think it's great. You throw in, you got Brock and Cohen there. Throw in, obviously, Nikita. You've got, Hussein, Mahoney. Maybe Isaac Hardman comes back. Maybe Kamikayo wants to fight Brock or someone. There's plenty of guys at that weight, and I think it's fantastic. Great for Aussie boxing, and so much content we've got for those big shows we're going to get on TV. Sorry, guys, I'm behind here, by the way. Damien, I'm a big Tim Tszyu fan, but he's not in the position of cutting any opponent off. I get it, Damien. Excuse me. But I think when it comes to anyone in Australia, mate, he's the big boy. And he does exactly what he wants to do. And because, mate, like it or not, outside of Australia, Michael Zerafa is below the Richter scale. He's just not recognised as, apart from being the guy that got obliterated by Lara. And again, it's nothing personal against Michael. I'm not having a crack at him. That's just fact. And talking to the people I know in the States, oh, that guy, yeah, okay. He's like, what does Tim want to fight him for? This is the mentality that's sort of coming back. And I'm with you. Maybe not in the position at the moment. I would probably differ my opinion a little bit there, Damien. I don't think Tim's in a position internationally now to be making any calls or being in the driver's seat. But in Australia, mate, he is still in charge of the bus, mate. He is the man. Even coming off those two losses. And when it comes to Michael Zerafa, will just have to wait and see what Tim wants to do. All right, Jules. Goodman has been shown a lot of respect by Inoue leading to this fight. Japanese culture values respectful and politeness highly. I'm not surprised that Sam was accommodated with a new date quickly. Yeah, it's great, isn't it, Jules? I'd love to get over there for a fight in Japan, mate. I would love to be over there and see how it all happens. I've got so much respect for Japanese. We've had Japanese fighters over here before on my show. Such lovely people, so respectful. And as you say there, the Japanese culture and their values mean so much. So I'd love to get over there and see one of their shows. How good would it be to see, in a way, in front of 50 or 60,000 people over there? Be awesome. Not quite sure January 24 is the go. It's hard enough getting tickets over there anyway. I think you've got to go into a lottery or something. But if it was a fight night that maybe didn't include in a way to get over there, and hopefully maybe even the Maloney boys are over there at some stage, who knows? But I'd love to get there and see it, mate. But they are, yeah, as you say, they're respectful. The values are held quite highly, polite, all the rest of it. And you're right, it's no surprise that they accommodated Sam and said, that's okay, accidents happen, we'll put it back a month, and away we go. All right. Excuse me. Has to fight Zerafa for street cred. Oh, has to fight Zerafa for street cred. Nah, I don't believe that, Andrew. I just don't think Tszyu owes and Michael Zerafa or anything. Not to say I wouldn't mind seeing the fight. I would like to see it. And I totally get Michael Zerafa pushing and trying to go. Tim, I understand it. I agree with it. What I'm saying is that Tszyu, he's in charge of his own destiny. He doesn't need Michael Zerafa. And if he doesn't want to fight him, well, that's just life. And fight fans will have to put up with it. And as far as his street cred, nah, not for me. Maybe there might be, well, you're obviously one of them. Maybe there's some Aussie fight fans that think that, but I think there'll be a lot of fight fans who will probably say, don't give him the payday, don't give him the recognition, don't give him nothing. He's not the most popular fighter, remember, Andrew, is Michael Zerafa. So I think there'll be a lot of fight fans out there who would welcome him not fighting Michael Zerafa. But there are, of course, the camp that wants him to fight, as you say there, for street cred. And then you've got the others that see, I'm probably in the third camp that just see it as, well, Tim needs Michael. Michael needs Tim. Tim doesn't need Michael, so Tim can do whatever the hell he wants. And whatever he chooses, I can see the logic in both. But I totally get him saying now, don't want him, don't need him. I'm gonna just go on a different path and forget about him. So that's why I think he'll go. All right, Mutsy. Cohen versus Brock would be a great fight. Yeah, it would be. Andrew says, Atoma, the real deal. Well, we'll see on the weekend, mate. Let's see what Dempsey has got to offer. Wish Mick Zerafa well, but if he doesn't interest him, well, he doesn't interest him. We'll see. That's the way I see it too, Andy. This whole thing about having to fight Zerafa, nah, not at all. Tim doesn't need to do shit. He doesn't need to do anything. Tim just needs to do what's best for Tszyu. And again, I know it's hard for some fight fans in Australia to get their head around. Why wouldn't he fight Michael Zerafa? It's the biggest fight. No, it's not. It's not the biggest fight. It might be one of the biggest fights Australia's seen. But internationally, again, it rates 0 on the dial. It's as simple as that. What's Tim's worst fear to lose to Zerafa? I don't think it comes down to that, Andrew. I don't think it's his worst fear to lose to him. Obviously, he wouldn't like to lose him, just like he wouldn't like to lose to anybody. I just don't think he just wants a part of Zerafa, and it happens, mate. It happens. Again, I'll say it. He doesn't need Michael Zerafa at all. If he decides to fight Michael Zerafa, it's purely and solely just to either shut Michael up or to appease the fight fans out there. But it looks like he's going to make the decision of what's best for Tszyu, not what's best for fight fans that want the fight. He doesn't need him, mate. He does not need Michael Zerafa. It does 0 to his record, to his legacy, whatever. Maybe in Australia, maybe it holds him in a little bit higher regard in the annals of Australian boxing history. But as far as the international scene goes, which is what Tim is thinking about, it means 0. So if he fights Michael Zerafa, it is purely for the money. And as I said earlier, if it's not about the money, if that doesn't come into it, then you've got to probably understand his logic of saying, I don't want nothing to do with that guy. Just leave him out of it. I can 100% see the logic in it, mate. But I understand you want to see the fight, but it's a business, I remember. All right. And he says, maybe just don't want to give Zerafa a payday, but understandably Zerafa trash talking is just to sell the fight and generate interest. I do favour respect though. Yeah. Again, I'll say I completely understand and agree with what Michael Zerafa is doing. I would be doing exactly the same thing, doing whatever it takes to get Tszyu in the ring. 100%. Because without Tszyu, I've got a feeling Michael Zerafa's career is just going to fizzle out in the background and nothing's going to happen. I hope that's not the case. Hopefully No Limit can get behind him and get him in, but I've just got a feeling without the Tszyu fight, I'm just not sure where Michael goes. And again, I'll probably have a message from him at some stage telling me to pull my head in, but I don't give a shit. I tell it the way it is. I just think he's one of those fighters that's too good for Australia, but not good enough for the elites internationally. He's just sort of in that twilight zone in between. And again, it's nothing personal. And I would like to see the fight with Tim. What I'm saying is that I just don't think it makes sense to Tim, and he's going to make his own decisions based on that. Spent a lot of time on that tonight, isn't it? That's exactly what Michael Zerafa wants too, doesn't he? All right, Damien. That would be amazing. This is Jai and Niika, but no way it will happen in 3 weeks. Yeah, it will be a massive fight in a year or two. I agree, Damien. All right, Paul, have reassessed your opinion on Paulo Akuso. I thought Waterman beat him comfortably despite the scorecards. No, I thought Paulo Akuso won, Paul. Look, I thought Paulo might have handled him a lot better than what he did. But you look at what Paulo said after the fight. He had a really interrupted training camp. I don't think we saw the best Paulo Akuso on the night. I thought Clay Waterman fought very, very well, by the way. No, I haven't changed my opinion yet, Paulo. If anything, I've just got a bit of a... It's not really improved or gone backwards. He's a little bit in limbo at the moment there. Paul's a bit like the seesaw, whatever you want to call it, is level at the moment. It's not really up or down. So I'm going to just withhold my thoughts on Paulo until I see him in a fight against probably a more advanced opponent than Clay Waterman. And if he's had a complete camp. So, no, I'm not off Paulo Akuso or I'm not reassessing. I just want to see what he's like in his next fight. What's that, Jules? Thanks for sorting out the naming situation with Cooper. Been confusing me since the World Youth Championship. Yeah. So his dad's Corey McConnell and his mum's Shannon O'Connell. What's that? The cruiserweight fight in Canada. They stank. Just watch it. All right, I'll check it out, mate. All right, Larry, a lot of interesting prospects in Australia. How far do you see Terramona Jr. and Huni and Akuso going? All right, so Terramona Jr., I have no idea just yet, Larry. I think he'll probably bowl 6 or 7 guys over pretty quick, if you ask me. Over the next 2 years, you'll see him fighting regularly and bowling over a bunch of journeymen. I'm really interested to see what happens when he goes to the next level. I think he can be at the level, Larry. I think he could be at least where, say, Dempsey McKinney is at the moment. I think he could get to that point. But that's at a point. Past that, who knows? Time will tell. As far as Huni, I think Huni is definitely at the level. I think he can really do some good things at the heavyweight, the elite heavyweight level, Larry. And Akuso, Paulo Akuso, I think he has all the talent in the world. The only doubts I've got with Paulo Akuso is whether he's got it inside to train hard, to sacrifice, to fight often, to really dig deep. I'm just so far, and his brother's the same. They just look like they're so casual about the whole thing. Now, I don't know what they get up to in the training camps and how dedicated they are. I don't know. Maybe they're the most dedicated athletes ever. I don't know. But I've just got a feeling that at the moment, Paulo Akuso still looks like he's in second gear. Whether or not he goes to the third, fourth, and fifth gears as he goes on, and the quality of opposition goes up, maybe he will change. But at the moment, especially his brother the other night, I wasn't impressed by him at all, Larry. But I think the other 3 you got there, Terramona Jr., Huni, and Akuso, all have what it takes to be at the top level and challenging for world titles in the future, 100%. Kane, hit the like. Yes, hit the like. Shut down the chat and hit the like. It's that easy. Yep, good stuff, Kane. We're almost pushing 2,000 subscribers. We've been just sitting there for ages. So, yeah, if you're watching, guys, make sure you just hit the like button. It means a lot. Really appreciate it. Oh, yes. Speaking of A-sides getting favourable decisions, Tyler Blizzard's fight with Yang was a disgrace. Wow, talk about that, Paul. I cannot see how Tyler Blizzard won that fight. I thought Yang won the fight very, very comfortably. What was it, a 6-rounder? 4 rounds to 2 at the very worst for Yang. I thought he dominated the fight. Cannot believe that Tyler Blizzard got the fight. Again, nothing personal. Looks like a really nice young guy, but he did not win that fight. Yang was ripped off. So I hate to say it, but seems to be a common occurrence lately, doesn't it? A bit different when it's Aussie versus Aussie. There's been a few decisions like that this year. But when you get an international fighter come over, yeah, I didn't like it. All right, Eminem. What's that? Rocky Ogden. Excuse me. Fighting in Japan, December 21st. So what card is that on there, Eminem? Let me have a quick look. See if it's on BoxRec. Well, there you go. Another Aussie on the world scene. All right, so yes, okay, good call. He's fighting Macha Nakagawa, who's 16-2-2 on the 21st of December. So on that card is, well, good card too. We've got Wilbaldo Perez against Rene Bibiano for the IBF Super. Oh, that's the vacant world titles. That's the fight that Andrew's looking to get the winner. Okay. He did mention it the other day and I couldn't remember the name. So that is it there. So Wilbaldo Perez against Rene Bibiano. Excuse me there. I've got a runny nose. For the IBF Superfly. So let's hope Andrew can get the winner of that. There it is there. So 16-2 against Rocky Ogden. Trying to see some of the other fights on there. So, Japanese cards doing great things at the moment, the Japanese promoters. So there you go. All right. Now, I'm assuming that will be on Fox, hopefully, there. Eminem, we will see. But, yeah, another Aussie on the world scene. Great stuff. No Limit and Tasman did a 5x5. Who wins? Great question, Jules. Put yourself on the spot and play matchmaker. Can you put up 5 names each? All right. Well, Tasman have got what? Jai, Justice, Connor Wallace. Let me just have a quick look at some of the names I had on the card. Geez, you put me on the spot here, mate. I might have to think about this. All right. So last week, I'll just go by the 2 cards. That'll give us a bit of an idea. All right. So you got Connor Wallace, Justice Huni. You got Austin Akuso. Tyler Blizzard, I suppose you'd put in that category. Max McIntyre, Vegas Larfield. Are they Tasman fighters? I don't know. Let's see. All right. Well, No Limit. I'm just looking at those guys. So at light heavyweight. Geez, who's No Limit got it not at light heavyweight? Oh, I'm going to have a think about it, Jules. You put me right on the spot there. It would be good, though. I'd love to see it. How good would that be? No Limit versus Tasman in a 5x5. Oh, I got no idea, Jules. Jeez, I'm not even going to attempt it. They got some girls, have they, as well? We've got heavyweights. Justice Hoodie. I'll come back to you about it, Jules. Very good question. Another one from Eminem. No shortage of decent domestic matchups for Brock Jarvis moving forward. Yeah, Hardman, Kamakayo, Mahoney, Mazzuti, Hussein. Nikita Tszyu, yeah, Biggs, Zerafa, to name a few. Yes. I reckon Brock Jarvis and Michael Zerafa would be an entertaining fight. I reckon that'd be a good one. It all just depends on what they want to do with... I'm going to put Tim Tszyu right out of the equation. I just don't think he's looking at Australia at all. So you put Nikita Tszyu in there. Yes, depends on what he is going to do. But Brock, out of all those fights, I'd love to see Brock Jarvis and Isaac Hardman. That would be a good fight. And maybe Zerafa against Mazzuti. I don't know. Look, either way, some great fights there, Eminem. The good news is we've got all these really, really good fighters up against each other, possibly. So whatever concoction there is, I think it'll be some good cards there. So Eminem think Brock should be tested for PEDs. Yeah, he's a big unit, isn't he? How big did he look the other day? You got Adrian Rodriguez, who's fought at 154 and 160, and Brock Jarvis coming up from 135 and then 140, and Brock looked like he was 3 divisions bigger. Oh, it was just ridiculous. He was huge. And he made Adrian Rodriguez look tiny. Big unit, Eminem. And how was it with poor old Jeff Fennick? And he went, Brock went up, jumped up in the air, and Jeff went to catch him and got absolutely flattened. You got a feel for him. I think I said watching that, Jeff forgot that Brock is not a 135-pounder anymore. He's a big, solid, probably weighed in at 175 on the night. So, yeah, big guy. All right, Larry's only potential danger of DAZN monopolising all of boxing's broadcasts and of Turkey Al Sheikh monopolising all the boxing in itself. Is no competition good for growing the market? Yeah, it's a good call, Larry. I would think that if DAZN buys in, well, it looks like they're going to buy into Foxtel, you would think there'd be some sort of agreement in there. They just can't buy in and then just take over the whole lot. I think there's a strategic thing behind this, and I would just think that, as I said earlier, that DAZN would be looking to get maybe a channel on Foxtel, use the app for overseas, and work in conjunction with the Foxtel channels or the Fox Sports channels. The main event thing might be one that we would have to keep an eye on. Maybe they have both. They have a DAZN channel and a main event channel. I don't know. But, yeah, I'm not worried about that one. I've been worried for quite some time as far as the Turkey Al Sheikh thing, Larry, because I just don't like the fact that Eddie Hearn and Oscar De La Hoya have jumped straight into bed with Turkey Al Sheikh. But so far, it's been all smooth sailing, hasn't it? Turkey Al Sheikh's just made great card after great card after great card. So we haven't seen that yet. But if he does get complete control, then power does weird and wonderful things to people, doesn't it? So it's good that maybe Bob Arum's out of the mix at the moment. We'll soon see, Larry. Yeah, I think it's always good to have competition. But as long as Turkey Al Sheikh's doing what he's doing, then hopefully we've got nothing to worry about. Jules, I agree with the comment about George and the New South Wales Combat Board's independent 3 officials, but in some states, officials are still paid by promoters. Not saying conspiracy, but not a good look. They don't pay the promoters, though, Jules. The promoters they have a representative on the night, and actually when it comes to the fees and charges, you pay them before the night's even there. So you pay your fees and your license fees and everything. It varies. Could be $500, could be $1,000. Depends on how many people you got there and everything else. So they pay that straight to the combat board. Then the referees and judges get chosen by the combat board to be there. And on the night, the money gets given to the representative on the night. They usually have one person in charge, and then they're in charge of distributing it to the referees and judges. So sometimes, I know for myself, there were so many events I didn't even cross paths with the referees and judges once on the night. Not once. But there's been other times where I've been there and they've been there early. I've had a chat with them. But the promoters don't pay the referees and judges directly. It's through either a representative on the night or it's paid beforehand. Maybe it's different in New South Wales. I don't know. But George Rose, he would not probably even know who the referees and judges are going to be until they turn up on the night. And he's got bigger things to worry about on the night than referees and judges. You know, maybe getting enough money to pay the fighters for the night. That's all they're worried about. Yes. I've been waiting for this one to come up. TJ Doherty gets another title shot versus Nick Ball after the Inoue loss. Well, all I can say, Eminem, is that Mike Altamura is manager of the year. Not only did he get him one shot against Inoue, he's now got him a second shot against Nick Ball. So, Mike Altamura, you are the man. Andrew, Tim's next opponent, 3 wins, 67 losses, no KOs, a must-wear 16-ounce gloves. Geez, Andrew, I take it you're not a Tim Tszyu fan by all this, mate. I think it'll be a little bit better than that, mate. I think it'll be a bit better. All right, Andy, I thought Top Rank going to DAZN would be good for boxing, removing a lot of hurdles hindering quality fights, but leaving ESPN means limiting exposure and leaving that stage for UFC. Pros and cons. Always pros and cons, Andy. I'm with you. I wasn't happy to see Top Rank leaving ESPN. They've been with them for so long, and they've done some good things together. I really don't like the whole free-to-air thing now being pretty much over. It's all going to be subscription-based, whether with an app or whatever it might be. I don't like it, mate. But that's the way it's going. It's not just boxing. It's going to be all other sports. It's going to be movies. It's going to be, I mean, even like mainstream TV is pretty much dead. Apart from the nightly news and some sport they put on and some of the reality bullshit they put on there, mainstream channels are pretty much dead. You think about it. Most people stream things when they want to watch things now. They do it on their own terms. They'll stream things and look things up and whatever, whenever. it chooses them to the liking. They don't really, oh, geez, it's 9 o'clock on Thursday. This is on. We'll sit down and watch it. They watch it whenever they want. And I think that's the way we're going with sport. Of course, live sport's different. But I just think that's the way we're going, mate, whether it be sports or movies, entertainment, whatever it is. We're going down the subscription-based channel, the route, and I just think channels, unfortunately, like ESPN and all that, I really worry about their future going forward. What's that, Kane? Respect to No Limit, but haven't bought a pay-per-view in ages. Bit of a rip-off. Yeah, no, I get it, mate. Larry agrees with Andy. However, making quality fights still is going to cost a lot of money. And the question is, if it wasn't profitable enough for the promoters before, how is it going to be profitable for the Sheik? Yeah, it's all about money, Larry. That's what it comes down to. And at some point, I would think that as good as the cards are from the Sheik, the well only runs so deep, I think. And the time will come where it'll be okay. Well, we're not just not going to be a free for all now. We're going to just whatever it takes to get these fights across the line. We'll just pay it. It's going to be, hey, we've got X amount of dollars to spend, and it's got to fit in just like everyone else does. Because I've said before, what happens when the powers of the be in Saudi Arabia say, yeah, you've had your fun with all this boxing stuff, Turkey Al Sheikh, now we're going to pull the reins in. You're spending way too much money. And you're losing money. It hasn't been reflected in the tourism that's supposed to bring in, and we're going to pull the rug. What happens then? So lots of question marks still on that whole thing. Hanoi Tripper. Hi all. Stinking hot in Melbourne. Certainly is, mate. Hope Parr can bounce back soon. I agree, mate. Tim could fight Abbas Barrow, Callum Walsh, Josh Kelly, all fairly beatable opponents who aren't punchers and all ranked in the IBF. Or he could fight Ulysses Lima, the current IBO champion, also ranked. Yep, that'll be the type of fight he gets, Larry. One of those types of guys. You've put up some good names there. They'll be the guys he will fight. Hanoi says, hope Tim stays away from Zerafa. Doesn't need him and it's too risky a banana skin. I don't think it's really that risky, Hanoi. I agree he doesn't need to. Well, I've had my say on that a few times tonight, but he doesn't need him. And look, it could be a potential banana skin like a lot of fights are. I just think my opinion is if it's going to be a potential banana skin and anyone he fights could be that potential opponent, then make it against someone that's at least internationally. Don't do it against someone probably like Michael Zerafa based here in Australia. So, yeah, look, I just... Again, it's a business decision from Tim, and they'll make the decision in due course. Andy says, we'll see soon enough, Larry. Do appreciate Turkey has delivered some great quality fights since his involvement, but don't want him to monopolise or may become a dictator. He has preferences. Time will tell. That's the thing, Andy. Once he's got full control, what happens then? So we will see. All right, Sam, we're so stoked even though Sam Goodman got cut, but how Inouye handled the situation, just said give it a month and didn't take a fight and made Sam wait another 8 months. Yeah, full credit to that team over there, Sam. They are all class, make no mistake about that. Yeah, Carl, congratulations to Conor Wallace. Good way to end 24. Yep. It wasn't his best performance, Carl. I thought he rusted a little bit, but end of the day, he got the job done, and he's such a great guy, Conor, and hopefully he gets a world title shot soon as well. All right, Tony. Tim has zero interest in fighting Michael Zerafa, but Jennings and the Rose brothers would disagree. I'd say it's a big pay-per-view for No Limit, and it's all about money for those three, most especially No Limit. Yeah, I wouldn't put Glenn Jennings in that category, Tony. I think that Glenn is the manager for a reason. He manages the right path for Tim. No Limit, I'm assuming, would be strongly disagreeing with Tim's stance, and I don't blame him. I mean, they've invested a lot into Tim. A lot of money, a lot of effort, and they've put into him. They want return on their investment. So I totally get it. I'm sure they will be pushing for it. But at the end of the day, Tim's his own man. He doesn't have to fight who he doesn't want to fight. So he still calls his own shots. Regardless of what's happened this year, Tim is still his own man and calls his own shots. So No Limit might not be happy about it, but they just might have to wear it. I do agree, though, that they've signed Michael Zerafa up for the next 2 years because they've got to hedge the bets. They've still got the fight there, and there's probably potentially plenty of other guys they could put him in with, and they could probably still have Michael Zerafa as a pay-per-view attraction against a lot of those other fighters that we mentioned before. Michael Zerafa really against any other of those guys would still be a really good selling pay-per-view in Australia, as long as they stack the undercard as well. Who is the top 5 in the Zerafa weight class? Is this Australia or the world? Sam? Internationally, we'll have a quick look at the middleweights. The top would be, obviously, we've got Janabek, Alan Canuli, Arizlandi Lara, Carlos Adames would probably be the top 3. Chris Eubank Jr. I would probably put in there as number 4. And you could probably Hamza Shiraz. I'd have at number 5. You could probably throw some others in there. Just on Michael Zerafa, though, he's ranked... So he's not ranked with the IBF. He's ranked number 8 with the WBA. He's not ranked with the WBC. And not ranked with the WBO. So he's at sole ranking at the moment is number 8 with the WBA. The problem is the title holder of that belt is Arizlandi Lara, and of course he's not going to fight Michael Zerafa again. And there's no way they would ever sanction that one. So he needs to get a quality win, which is again why I have no dramas whatsoever. Him calling out Tim Tszyu. Too good for Oz, not good enough for the elites. A bit like Kambosos. The argument could be made, Hanoi. Look, I think, though, you've got to... Well, I mean, George Kambosos has probably got one of the biggest scalps out there, though. I mean, he has beat the elites. Teofimo Lopez was just coming off a unanimous decision. We know... Oh, was it unanimous? Whatever. It was a points decision over Vasily Lomachenko when George beat him. So I think that's a little bit different. George has shown he can do it. Was it a one-off? I don't know. Time will tell. But I don't think it's anything like George, if I'm being honest, mate. George has shown that he's at the level. He's won at the level. He's undisputed lightweight champion. Michael, without the risk of him getting excited and jumping on his soapbox again, I've said in the past, unfortunately, Michael's been at the level. It just hasn't been able to get the job done. And he has fought some really good guys, don't get me wrong, but just hasn't been able to get over the line against them. That's the difference, I think, in this point here, Hanoi. Not to say... You know, he won't get another crack, and maybe he's learnt from his experience and will get the job done next time. But I'm just talking facts. And as that is that when Michael stepped up to the elite level, hasn't been able to get the job done, Cambos has at least shown that he's been able to win at that level. So I don't think you can compare both, Hanoi. Not there's anything wrong with that either. We've been too good for Oz, but not good enough for the world scene. I mean, there's plenty of guys in that situation as well. It just is what it is. Carl Michael could rematch Lara. His face blocked most of those shots. Oh, you're a stirrer there, Carl. Jules, Max McIntyre has a quick turnaround announced for January 8 against international opponent for IBF World Youth title. Nice filler for the card. Is that right? Okay. Let me just go back to that. What was I looking at that card, wasn't I? What card was that on? That was last week's, wasn't it? All right, I'll have to... That doesn't matter. All right, okay. I didn't know that, mate. Let me just type in... Just quickly. Apologies if you're listening after the fact on Spotify with the silence. All right, so far the event is... Oh, okay. All right, good stuff. Thanks very much for that, Jules. So he's fighting Abdul Selim Saman, who's 8-1 for the IBF Youth title over 10 rounds. Justice is against Sean Potagita over 10 for the IBF Pan Pacific title. So if he wins that, he's going to get a world ranking. And then you got Jai against the TBA. Okay, so the card is starting to come together. Okay, thanks very much for that, Jules. You're a bad man there, Carl. All right, Carl, what do you say there? Couldn't agree more. Paulo is already talking the business side of boxing, and he's a prospect. Yep. Didn't make any sense leaving No Limit, mate. I don't know what the hell happened there. Huni only chance if he can be bridgerweight, no power. The problem with that, though, who was that? Andrew. Is that his last fight, he weighed 247 pounds. There's no way he's making, 200 pounds. So he's a heavyweight. And the thing is, a lot of people say he's not a big heavyweight. 247 pounds is a massive heavyweight. Back in the day, the likes of Larry Holmes and even Tyson's and those top, they were all like 225, 230. So Huni's actually a bigger guy than them. I'm just going to quickly, as we go there, I'm just going to quickly put in Mike Tyson in his prime. I don't think he was a big guy. He looked big, but Justice is mistaken as a small heavyweight. He's a big heavyweight. He's just not very tall. So back in the day, let's go right back to the early 90s. 217 against, that was 1990, 217, 216, 220. That's 100 kilos. That's all he was, which is what's Bridgerweight? About 200. So he's too big for that. So he wasn't a big heavyweight. So Justice Huni is about 10 kilos heavier than what Mike Tyson was back in his heyday. Pretty crazy. Yeah, only chance. Yeah, well, he's not going to have that luxury going to Bridgerweight though, Andrew, I should say. Carl agrees. I always thought similar. Heavyweights need to have power to compete. Well, Usyk hasn't got power though, Carl, and he's doing just fine. Holyfield never had big power. Spinks didn't have much power. A lot of other actual natural heavyweights didn't have a lot of power either. So I'm not a big one on that one, Carl. I understand it helps. I'm not sure it's the be-all and end-all. There's been some very, very good heavyweights over the joint. Even the greatest, Muhammad Ali, wasn't a big puncher. He was just a accumulation type of puncher. Damien, check out the new Undisputed documentary on Usyk and Fury. Absolutely amazing. I'll check that out, Damien. So, yep. Look out for that, guys. Brock Jarvis versus Matteo Tapia. We didn't mention Matteo Tapia. That would be a great fight. The fight I would like to see, now you've said that, Eminem, is Zerafa and Michael Zerafa and Matteo Tapia. For me, that is the fight. Outside of Michael versus one of the Zoo boys, I think Matteo Tapia and Michael Zerafa is the next biggest fight out there for Aussies versus Aussies. I think that would be a great fight. I really do. I think Matteo Tapia gets the job done in the fight, but I would love to see it. All right, Carl. PBC must be in some form of financial trouble. Prime gave them 13 slots for 2024, and they only had 5 to 6 shows all year. Very strange. Good call, Carl. I forgot all about him, if I'm being honest, Carl. I saw the first show early in the year. Obviously, I was there with Tszyu and Fundora. Haven't really noticed them for the rest of the year, mate. So they had 13 slots and used 5 or 6. Pretty crazy. Love Tim, says Andrew, but don't like the Dodge. My favourite fighter, but he must KO Zerafa too. We'll see, mate. Andy, PBC is dwindling, having platform, but no budget with it, Al Heyman. Yeah, it's been a massive failure, hasn't it? Since the money's dried up, the cards have just gotten worse and worse. What's that, Tony? How did Neil pull up after his stroll this morning? Recently said goodbye to my mate, and I still cry at work when nobody sees me. Not easy, mate. Yeah, Tony. Yeah, we've only had Neil about, when did we get him? Start of March or late Feb, I think it was. So we've had him about 9 months now, going into 10 months. He struggled a little bit, mate, this morning. It was a very short walk, about half an hour. Normally it's at least an hour. It's not like we go solid for an hour, by the way. He takes his time. First, he's out of the gates really quick, but he winds down really quick, and the last half of the walk is very, very slow. But this morning, I really cut it short, mate. He was battling. Bulldogs often do it hard, don't they, with the snouts? But, yeah, we'll take it easy for the next few days with him. And tonight, we've got an upstairs bedroom. We've shut the doors with the air conditioner on, so he's doing all right tonight, mate. Make no qualms about it. He's okay. But about almost 18 months ago, Tony, we had an Aussie bulldog. His name was Chili, and we lost him. He almost made it to 12. He went downhill really quick, and we had to put him down, mate. It's the hardest thing I've ever had to do. I've lost pets in the past, and it's never easy, but we had the lady actually come around to actually put the needle in, and we've had dogs that have died by all sorts of things, but the first time I've actually had to make the appointment for the lady to come around and put him down, and yeah, it was the hardest thing I have to do, mate. My best mate, and to sit there with him while he passed away was not something I would like to do again. But that's life, isn't it, mate? But I'm with you. I sometimes do get a bit teary as well, mate, if I'm being honest. And I'm not afraid to say that at all. And I think most guys, or whoever it is, or women, guys, wherever, I think, honestly, most people would go through that. But it's tough, mate. And I hope you're doing all right, mate. And I must admit, I know it's not the dog show tonight. We're still talking boxing. But I must admit, I was one of the ones, and my wife, we both said, I don't think we can get another dog. And it was really hard to get Neil, but we went through a rescue mob and got him in, and it's been great because you don't want to put yourself through that again. But you got to also think of the other flip side of the dog. There's lots of dogs out there that need homes, abused. Neil, I'm not quite sure what his past was, but I get a feeling sometimes by some of his reactions to things, any sudden movement or something, sometimes he gets a bit jittery. Still a little bit like that around whether he's allowed to eat or not. Put the food bowl down. He has to look 3 or 4 times to make sure it's okay. So I don't want to know his history, to be honest. All I want to know now is he's looked after, he's loved, and he's part of the family. But I saw a little, I know we're getting on in time here, but I saw a little slide after Chili passed away, Tony, and it was about, if you're one of the people that said you would never get another dog again, look at this slide. And it was a whole lot of pictures of abandoned dogs, dogs in shelters, and said maybe honour your previous dog by adopting another dog and looking after them. And that's what made me think I don't really feel like doing it. I don't really want to do it. I don't think I could go through it again, but I did it. And I'm really happy with the decision, Tony. So if you're one of the ones that said maybe never again, just take a deep breath, get over the grief, mate, and get another dog. It's the best thing you can do, and also honours your other dog that you lost as well. So, but I know where you're coming from. All right, I'll get through a few comments there. My favourite fighter is Tim, but he dodges Zerafa. I don't think he's dodging Andrew. It's all a business decision, mate. Damien, top rank leaving ESPN is amazing. They pick and choose what events us Aussies get to watch, then we have to illegally stream them. Yeah. It's the way of the world, though, Damien. It's the way we're going, mate. I've been practicing learning the Saudi Arabia national anthem. Well, you're going to hear it a fair bit over the next couple of years, Carl. In Turkey, we trust. Let's be honest, undisputed at light heavyweight and heavyweight in 2024 is pretty spectacular. Good call, Carl. Very well said. What has happened to Jack Gibbs, says Jules. Had the long layoff, stepped up to 175 and had the fight with Conor. That was an awesome fight, but hasn't been seen since. Would have thought activity would priority. Great talent. He's a real good talent, Jules, but maybe it knocked him around a little bit. Maybe he just needed to regroup, and maybe he didn't. After what happened, maybe he just needed the rest of the year off. Maybe he wasn't feeling it. Who knows? Maybe he's had injuries. I don't know. But he's a good young talent, and I'm sure he'll be back. Here's Batman. How you going there, mate? Get through and compare Zerafa to Cambo. Sacrilege, yep. Yes, Carl. We even get the rematch at heavyweight in the same year. Good call. And the light heavyweight one will be early next year. Larry, I for one am not excited by the rematch and haven't seen much excitement for the event in general. It has flown under the radar, Larry. I'll give you that. Great promo though, but yeah, you're right. I'm sure this week it'll really ramp up anyway. A bizarre spectacle in Saudi of all places with a touch of circus in the build-up. Yeah, let's hope John Fury doesn't turn up and make an idiot of himself again. One more from Larry. Much more exciting to see undefeated prospects against each other in smaller domestic mid-card fights. The big spectacle of the big fight has been watered down too much over the years. Yeah, no, good call there, mate. Yeah, Jax, Huni is massive, 6'4", and big, just can't punch. Yep. But that's what I was saying, Jack. There's this little sort of bit of a myth that he's not a big heavyweight. He's a massive heavyweight. He's just not the biggest puncher. And I for one, don't see the harm in it. It would help if he was a bigger puncher, but I think he'll be fine. Joseph Parker versus Daniel Dubois is a great match. I agree, Carl. If Joe takes Dubois' best shots, it's a long night for him. I got Parker. I think Parker can 100% win, Carl. I'm with you there, mate. Huni has definitely shown more power in his last couple of fights, albeit against a lot of the opposition. Yep, good call. Paul, Ben Mahoney, Clay Waterman, and like I said earlier, David Nika, all on the Jai Opetaia card too. All right, cool. It's not on box rec at the moment, mate, but if that's the case, that would be awesome. Yeah, Paul, Australia has a lot of talent at 154 to 160, throwing New Zealand Mikhailovic too. Yep, I'd love to see him against Hardman or Zerafa or Nikita. Great fights. Batman, never recovered from losing my boy Floyd in March. Miss him every second of each day, mate. It's tough. It really is. Look, I reckon it took me months to sort of get over it. And as I said earlier, I still sometimes I've still got my there you go, my screensaver. If I can bring it up there. I can see that there. There he is there. That's my little fella there. That's Chili. That's my previous dog. Still got him on my screensaver there. But my man now is Neil, and he's just as much a part of the family, and he's such a good little dog. He's a little shit sometimes, but he's a good he's a good man. All right. Yeah, Hannah, it's so sad about the pets, yeah. But you got no choice but to move on. We'll keep going there. Thanks for the comments on the dogs there, guys. It's look, it never gets easier, and I just shudder to think of the day where it happens again. But I'm willing to put myself through it if it means giving a dog like Neil a really good home for 5 or 6 years. If I could, I'd have multiple dogs, to be honest. We used to have 5.5 acres. In hindsight, I would love to have maybe built a shelter and had like a dozen dogs. I would have loved it. But I think the council come down on you, don't they? Anyway, but I reckon with rescue dogs, unless they've actually come together or been in the shelter together, it's best to have one and no more. Because I'd love to have another dog, but apparently, with shelter dogs or abandoned dogs, it's not a good idea to bring in another dog they don't know. So one thing from when they're pups, or maybe you could probably bring a pup in with an older dog, but yeah, they reckon you shouldn't bring in another rescue dog because it becomes a territorial thing then, and all of a sudden you got fights all the time. All right. I'll go through the comments here. We've got a couple more to get through. What have we only got about 5 minutes to go? Pretty crazy. What's that, Batman? Saying I'll never change my screensaver or wallpaper. Yeah, I'm the same, mate. And I'm not embarrassed to say that when Chili died, I wrote a letter to him, and it was just on my phone, and I just wrote, from your dad, and yeah, I've still got it on my phone now, and it's something that I'll only see, and it was just some people might laugh, but it was just something I wanted to do, and I wrote a little goodbye letter to him, and I'm not embarrassed to say it. So, all right, couple of boxing questions to finish up. I read the WBO wouldn't sanction Fundora Spence because Spence isn't ranked. Yeah, I did see that, Eminem. Yep. Well, the other thing I read too with the WBC, that Fundora still doesn't know what the WBC want him to do. It's been 9 months since he beat Tim, and still nothing locked in as far as fights go. So, yeah, and when you got the WBC, well, a fighter not knowing what the sanctioning body actually wants him to do, it's pretty hard to go down the right track. And if it's WBO as well, saying the same thing, and why would Spence get a shot? He doesn't deserve one, does he? So, hasn't fought for 18 months. That bad loss to Terence Crawford. So, and did you see, I don't know whether you saw it, guys, speaking of Terence Crawford, but our own Tszyu Brown that, of course, used to be on the channel all the time, was actually shadow boxing with Terence Crawford in Germany, on the streets of Germany, over at the WBC convention. So I'm sure I'll hear all about it when he's home, but that's Tszyu Brown for you. Crazy. Yeah, I'm with you there, Carl. I can't watch videos. It's tough. Photos are one thing. Well, it's tough. It's tough. It really is. I'll get through a couple of... I think they were almost at the end of them there, guys. Sorry if I've... Oh, there's one from Dean. Hey, Dean. Thanks for joining the show, mate. Fury seems to be more focused for this fight. He will smash him. Yeah, I tend to lean towards Tyson Fury this time, Dean. I think if he comes out with a no-nonsense approach about, right, I'm going to just take you out. None of this trying to outbox you and clown around and put on a show. I'm going to try and take you out, which you don't see often from Tyson Fury. I know it's not usually his thing, but I think maybe that's his key to success. I think last time he tried to, I'm not going to say play up for the crowd, but I just don't think he didn't really get in that right frame of mind until, we were sort of midway through the fight. So, and then of course that big 9th round from Usyk. I think Usyk's, Fury needs to be on the front foot straight away and really put Fury on the back foot and really, lay his claim to the fight. So we'll see. It's going to be fascinating anyway. What's that, Carl? My dog ate 2 of the neighbour's show chickens. I bet he wasn't popular, mate. Jeez. Damien, the good times we have with them are worth every bit of the heart-ripping pain at the end. It is, mate. It is. And we've got to think of them. I know it breaks our heart, but I would just much prefer to have a dog that's, as I said, might have 5 or 6 years, whatever it might be, that is loved and has a great home, than to think that dog could be in a shelter or left to die alone with nobody around. It just breaks my heart, and that's why I'd have 10 dogs if I could. What's that? You had to go to court to keep him? Jeez. Fair income. They had to go to court because he killed a couple of chickens. Jeez. I used to have one of my stuffies in the past did the same thing, and it was just like, bad dog. They weren't show ones anyway, so. All right. All right, a couple of questions to finish up, or a couple of comments. Fury is a legit chance, but I'm going to lean to Usyk again. Should be another cracker fight. I'm with you there, mate. What's that? Can't believe with your knowledge on boxing you don't rate Gervonta Davis. Not that I don't. Where have I said I don't rate Gervonta Davis? Of course I rank him or rate him there, Andrew. I just don't rate him as high as what he could be because he just, apart from Ryan Garcia and maybe Pitbull Cruz, he refuses to test himself. He fights once a year, and I don't, of course I rate him as a fighter. I just don't rate him as one of those all-time sort of great fighters because he just hasn't had the legacy fights. Ryan Garcia, even that's arguable. I know he looked good against Ryan Garcia. Devin Haney, but that's about it. And Isaac Cruz is probably one of those fighters, just like a lot of the other great fighter champions of the history, of sort of beaten on a regular basis. He just hasn't got the resume for me, Andrew. Could have been one of the greats, and who knows, he still might be, but I rate him. I just don't rate what he's done. So I just think he's a lot, like he's a great, well, potentially a great fighter. He just doesn't fight often enough and against those other great fighters. So what's that, Carl? I rate him about 312 at lightweight. Yeah, I mean, as far as all-time greats go, not even in the conversation in the lightweight division, not at all. Wouldn't have him in my top 20 lightweights of all time. But he should be. Definitely has the potential to be in the top 10, but on his resume, not a chance. All right. Well, there's Damien signing up. Yep, have an amazing week, all your legends in the chat, and Lynden. Thanks very much, Damien. We're going to leave it at that for tonight. It's very warm in this room, I've got to say. I've got the fan going. You can probably hear it going there. But, yeah, that's, what's that there? $30 pay-per-view this weekend. That's how you do it. Good call. Good one to go out with there, Damien. It's only $30 for the Undisputed Heavyweight Championship fight. So that is going to do it for today. So, again, Thursday night will be the fight night. We'll do a preview of the Usyk and Fury event. So tune in for that. And then we'll do the watch along on this Sunday morning as well. So I look forward to seeing you then. Of course, every morning on Walking Boxing. So guys, until next Monday night, will be the last one for, before Christmas, but maybe we might do one in between just to review the Saudi card and then into 2025. So guys, that's going to do it. Hope you have a great week and we'll catch you next time.